everyone, welcome back to my channel. I have been on 22 flights this year and more than half of them have been solo. But it's also giving me a lot of time to just self-reflect. Kind of freaks me out a little bit, but it's okay.
All of this is $30.
Here are 12 travel tips I wish I knew when I was traveling solo for the very first time. I traveled a lot solo because my husband did not have a green card until recently. Yay! He has a green card now and he can leave the country and come back in safely. We are going on our first international flight together very soon. So I'm so excited for him to just kind of experience the world for the first time because he's just been in the United States, which can be beautiful, but it's not the same. Traveling solo is one of the most freeing experiences you can have, but let's be real, sometimes it's scary, sometimes it's lonely, and it can feel overwhelming. But here are a few tips I wish someone had told me so I could skip the mistakes and just enjoy the adventure. When I first traveled solo, I was 23 years old, an adult. Tip number 1 is to start small. Your first solo trip doesn't have to be international. You can start off by going somewhere a little bit closer all by yourself. Being in a hotel room by yourself gives a totally different vibe. You start to feel the silence, you start to feel the loneliness a little bit stronger. So it's nice to be aware of how do you respond when you are alone. My first time traveling solo, I went big. I decided that I was going to teach abroad in Prague, in the Czech Republic, for 2 months. It was my first time in Europe and I had never been to Prague, and I decided I'm just gonna live there for 2 months. Safe to say, I dealt with a lot of loneliness. I was not mentally prepared for that. I didn't speak Czech, I felt very isolated, but it was a growing experience for sure. But it does help to go on a smaller trip first to build that confidence that you can travel by yourself and that you are capable. Research safety basics. I like to Google safest parts of this country or safest parts of this city or places to avoid. Especially as a female traveler, I just really want to be mindful that I don't end up in a sketchy street or anywhere that is unsafe. Doing as much research and front-loading yourself with as much knowledge is going to help you feel a lot more comfortable too, because you've kind of planned out what to expect. Make sure you stay connected. Back when I was traveling to Europe, eSIMs were not a thing, so I just got an international plan with T-Mobile. But nowadays you can get a pocket Wi-Fi or an eSIM. eSIMs are really easy to use. Just the initial setup might be a little confusing, but once you get past that, it's so easy. You just turn it on. Make sure you stay connected, that you have access to the internet, and you can also download your maps so that if you're ever in an area where you don't have service, you can still utilize Google Maps to get around. Next is to pack light. Trust me, when you're traveling all by yourself, you don't have anybody to help you carry all your stuff. Make sure you can actually carry everything you're bringing. On an international flight, usually a carry-on and 1 check-in luggage, and then a backpack is all I can handle. But if I'm traveling domestically, I try as much as I can to only bring a carry-on and a backpack. When you're going up all the stairs, when you're going on train stations, you're not going to want to lug more than you can handle. Literally, you don't want more handles than you have hands. Next is keep a flexible schedule. When I travel by myself, I'm like, oh, I want to make the most of the trip. I want to make sure I see all these things, but you don't realize how tiring it can be moving around by yourself. So leave some wiggle room in your schedule, but also leave wiggle room in your finances for an emergency. I always like to keep emergency cash in my wallet, and that is only to be used in an emergency, like you're about to miss your plane and you're on the wrong train and you need to grab a taxi to make your flight. Because that's what happened to me when I was in London in my 20s. Literally, out of all the European countries I've been to, the only one I got miserably lost in was in London, the place that speaks English. I got so incredibly lost and I knew I was going to miss my flight if I didn't get to the airport soon enough. I ended up on 3 or 4 different wrong trains, cost a lot of money, and eventually I just had to get a taxi and I made it, praise God. But I needed the extra cash and that wiggle room to know, okay, it's fine, I just need to get to the airport. Next is to bring a portable charger. Because you are by yourself, if your phone happens to die and run out of battery, there's no one else you can rely on other than talking to a stranger. So make sure you have a way to charge your phone so that you don't get lost. But I guess you can still get lost because that's what happened to me. But all in all, you want to make sure you're not in a situation where your phone has phone's run out of battery and you don't know where you're going. Tip number 7. Next, choose an accommodation that's in a central location and that's near public transportation. Especially if you go out all day, you don't want to come back at nighttime, get off the train, get off the subway, and then have to walk 10 minutes at night in some area with not a lot of people. As a woman, that sounds so scary to me. So I want to make sure I'm surrounded by people who are walking, who are on their way home too. Central locations are helpful because you're probably going to be hanging out in that area anyway, so it's nice to have an accommodation that's close by. You don't want to be traveling for like 30 to 40 minutes all by yourself every single day back to your accommodation. It's safer, it saves time, and it just makes things easier. Next, share your itinerary. I always share my itinerary with my husband so he's aware of just kind of where I'm supposed to be going each day. And if anything happens, I don't know if he would know where I am, but at least he's aware of this is generally what she was doing. Of course, things change. But definitely all of my flight information, anytime I'm going from one country to another, my husband was always aware of where I was going. Next, look into solo dining experiences. I felt like when I was in Europe, I would feel the most lonely when I was eating by myself. Nothing wrong with eating at a restaurant by yourself, but I would just feel that absence a little bit more. So usually I would take my food and bring it back to wherever I was staying and eat in my room. There are a lot of solo dining experiences, especially in Asia, where you realize everybody's eating by themselves. And when everybody else is doing it, you start to feel like it's normal. So I really enjoy those kinds of intimate settings too. And everyone's just kind of quiet and eating and doing their own thing. Of course, if you are extroverted, you could totally make friends while eating. I am just so introverted, that's kind of hard for me. Next is to learn a few local phrases to help you. When I was in Europe, and now every time I go to Asia, most important things for me is where's the restroom? How much is it? And then like, is this the right way? Or how do I get here? Little phrases to just help me get through. Or of course, there's so many translating apps that can help you too. Next, making friends while you're traveling and meeting people. That's the beauty of traveling and getting to know a different culture, but have boundaries. Make sure you don't share with people like, this is the hotel I'm staying at. And you just don't want to give private information away because you don't really know these people. And always try to meet new people in public settings. Embrace the freedom and enjoy when you're traveling solo, because truly when you travel by yourself, you don't need to ask anybody, where do you want to eat or what do you want to do. You get to think about what do you want to do by yourself. You are the only person you need to worry about in that moment, and really just take it all in. There's no need to rush. There's no need to go places that you may not want to go to, because you get to just truly enjoy the city that you're in by yourself. And who knows how long that season will last, and just the fact that you even get to do that is so amazing. So I hope that these tips help you guys. If you're thinking about traveling solo, just know you totally can do it. Just be safe, research, and know where you're going. If you have any questions or comments, make sure to leave it down below and I'll get back to you. If you like what you see, please like and subscribe, and I'll see you later. Bye!